Joe Burrow is on the outside looking in the playoffs. He would be in the playoffs perhaps if the Chiefs were to beat the Denver Broncos.
Yeah. If the Chiefs beat the Broncos, the Bengals beat the Steelers, and the Dolphins lose to the Jets, the Bengals are in.
So are you worried?
That's a lot for the Dolphins part.
The Jets
lose to the Jets.
Tyrod?
So just level set the facts here. It's been more than 2 years since Cincinnati beat Kansas City in a game. Since then, they've played 3 times. The Chiefs are 3-0. Bengals obviously 0-3.
Was one of those times against, or those all Burrow games, or no? Sorry, I'm not trying to be a smart aleck.
The 2 of the 3 are Burrow games. One was Jake Browning last year. I'm just telling you what it is.
I know. I'm just
the Bengals are in that time frame 23-17 overall. I think 19-15 with Joe Burrow, but we can check that. But what the team is 19-13 maybe, and the Chiefs are 38-7. But this is not like a first things first specific question. This is a media-wide phenomenon, this exact idea. And this, to me, is part and parcel exactly why I think the media gets all of the Chiefs' coverage wrong. There is a team that obviously would prefer Cincinnati not make the playoffs, and it's Buffalo. First of all, that's who they would play in round 1. The idea that the Chiefs don't want the Bengals in, the only way the Chiefs get to play the Bengals is if the Bengals have just beaten Buffalo. So that would be, by the way, awesome, because Buffalo is far better than Cincinnati this season. But set that aside. This is why I can't stand the way the Chiefs are discussed and why I think that they get less of a benefit of the doubt than other good teams, much less great teams. Okay, so since Cincinnati last beat Kansas City, here's what they've done against Buffalo. They played Buffalo in the Damar Hamlin game and were handling them, and then the tragedy took place. They then 2 weeks later went to Buffalo in a playoff game and beat them, and then last year played them again when the team stunk, when Burrow wasn't yet fully healthy, and beat them again. This should be a really good conversation, and it should be, should the Bills be nervous if Cincinnati makes the playoffs? It's who they'd have to play. It's who knocked the Bills out of the playoffs in their building 2 years ago. It's who they've lost to last year and in the playoffs. And yet, nobody's having it because that'd be disrespectful to Buffalo. Big bad Buffalo. And so, no, Kansas.
That's not the conversation about it being this is, oh my God. It is wild. It is widely seen that the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow are a great rival, and they have this whole back and forth with the Kansas City Chiefs, okay? That Joe Burrow beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs and this and that and yada, yada, yada. Okay? The Kansas City Chiefs are also a popular team. What do you want the content? Like, this whole pearl clutching is so old and tired. So that somehow asking this question is insane. That we should be saying, should the Buffalo Bills be concerned? Why? The Kansas City Chiefs are favored over the Buffalo Bills to win the Super Bowl. People believe it right now. It's the Kansas City Chiefs and who's two? Like the Lions, I think maybe, or the Eagles. I forget honestly at this point. But it's the Chiefs, not the Buffalo Bills, as reported on this very show. So why would they say that? Just because the Bengals would play the Bills first does not mean that the question wouldn't remain the Chiefs and the Bengals. Like, what do you want the content to be around the Kansas City Chiefs? That they're just the greatest team ever. No one can beat them. You just want to say that every single day? And anytime that there's any conversation about it, it's just, oh my God, everybody in the media gets everything wrong. This is your show. You're the one that comes up with these questions. So, I know how this works. Because I'll come across a clip that I'll see the title, the question before I play it, and I go, oh yeah, this is a great clip for me to react off of. What kind of question is this? This is insane. Let me get after it. I don't own the show, okay? I don't create the show. So this is a question that they're like, hey, we're gonna ask this question, and Nick's like, yeah, great. I already know what I'm gonna say. I already got this take boiled. This question's crazy. Why would we not ask this about the Bills? So again, he is the media, and he's creating the media narrative, and then is fighting against the media narrative in a way where he's like, how dare the media do this? That's playing both sides. Like, that does not actually make any sense. It really, really does not make any sense. It's like if I was actually secretly the showrunner for First Things First, and I told Nick and Brew what to say. I'm the one that's like feeding them lines, and then they make their show, and then I react, and I'd be like, I can't believe Nick just said that. He's so wrong. Like, that's like, wait, what? I'm the one that's pulling the strings here. And even though Nick, and Bruin and Wild for that matter are obviously the show, I don't think they have 100% creative control over what the topics are. That's why they have Dusty, and they have like other suit and ties and producers and stuff like that. So it is a collaborative effort. As they even kind of talked about, they have their Google Doc, folder and whatnot. But still, can we stop pretending like asking this question is somehow disrespectful or insane about the Kansas City Chiefs? We know the history between those two franchises. What are we talking about? And using this history is so insane. I'm so sick and tired of talking about they beat this team in 22 and they beat this team in 23. Again, who cares? It's how these teams are playing right now. Yes, if the Bengals get in the playoffs, every team that could face them should be nervous, because it means the Bengals are tearing stuff up, and Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins are just balling. So yes, the Bills should be nervous. Yes, the Kansas City Chiefs should be nervous. Yes, the Ravens should be nervous. Yes, the Chiefs should be nervous of the Bills, of the Ravens. They should all be nervous of each other, because you're talking about great quarterbacks. We are living in a time right now where I think all of these quarterbacks are legitimate all-time greats. Joe Burrow, Mahomes, Lamar, Josh Allen. And when you're going up against other all-time greats, anything can happen. Anything can happen. But this idea of like, well, why would the Chiefs be nervous? They beat them in week whatever. It's like, okay, who cares? Who cares? If you want to keep doing that logic, well, then the Buffalo Bills won and beat you this season. So are you nervous about them? And you're like, no, because they only do it in the regular season, not the playoffs. And it's like, okay, well, the Bengals beat you in the playoffs. Like, we can kind of keep doing this then. Okay, fine. Well, then are you nervous at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers if you face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Super Bowl? No, because it's Baker Mayfield and not Tom Brady. Okay, well, last time that you played the Bengals, they didn't have T. Higgins, and they were missing a whole bunch of defensive players. So again, we can keep doing this musical chairs all we want. You either live and die by the past or you don't. You can't pick and choose. If you apply your logic for one part of the argument, then you have to continue to apply it for all the other successive arguments. You can't pick and choose. Not how it works. And if you're going to pick and choose, you have to explain in detail why. Why this makes sense in this specific situation and why it doesn't in another situation. But the constant pearl clutching about the Kansas City Chiefs and any of the content, people all day, every day are talking about how great and how elite the Kansas City Chiefs are. From ESPN to CBS to FS1, stop pretending like everyone is acting like the Chiefs are just lucky to be there. Because that's not what's happening at all. It's just not. And it's like, we can't even have a simple, it's like any comment, any question that isn't like Kansas City Chiefs, the greatest team in the history of the world, question mark, anything short of that, it's just disrespectful. It's insulting. It's insanity. We would never do that with the Buffalo Bills. What? People have been ripping the Buffalo Bills throughout this whole season. Their defense is trash. Josh Allen's not the MVP. They only beat teams with losing records. They struggled to beat the Patriots. What? What are we saying here? Seriously, what are we saying here? Nick Wright, every 5 seconds, any chance he gets, rips Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson has a great game, and he goes, well, of course he had a great game. It was regular season. We know he can't do it against the Steelers, the Chiefs, and in the playoffs. Isn't that disrespectful? Like, huh? You can't keep saying something is disrespectful when one, it's not, and two, you engage in the disrespect, but for like other teams and players. You don't think it's insulting? I mean, I just watched Jared Goff ball out against the 49ers, make unbelievably amazing throws, and yet like Nick Wright multiple times is holding the little doll hands. He's got tiny hands. He's just a civilian. Like, that is way more disrespectful. Calling Sam Darnold a pumpkin, all that. That is infinitely more disrespectful and warrants an extreme, like, this is insane reaction than a simple question, should KC be nervous if Cincy makes the playoffs? Unless you're coming from the side where you're like, men don't cry. Men don't get scared. Kansas City is nervous of nothing. Because I already know some of the fans are going to be like, Kansas City won't fear anyone. And it's like, okay, sure. Whatever you say. I know. And as a man, you've never been scared of the dark before. You never were walking, down the streets late at night and kind of were like, oh man, someone around me? Because you're a man. You can take care of everything. I fear nothing. When I hear a bump in the night, I put my hood up and walk downstairs and go, let's go. You want to come into my house? Let's do it. It's not the reality. It's not how the world works. It's not how these teams are. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Spags, they would know what's up if they got to face the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, they would have nerves. Are they going to be like, oh no, we can't win? No. That's not the question. That's not the question. I don't know, man. I don't know. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Cincinnati Bengals? Do you think the Kansas City Chiefs should be nervous if Cincinnati makes the playoffs? And do you think that that is an insane question to even ask and just disrespectful? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.